Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful, blessed night. Today, we're going to talk about immunity, specifically how we can strengthen our immunity so that we can get sick less. So, that's what I call virus proof your health. And the word boosted immunity, or the words or the phrase boosting immunity, is really kind of overused. Every herb is said to boost immunity, whether it's turmeric or garlic or ginger. It's always boost immunity, boost immunity. But what does that even mean? And so that's what I'm going to break down today. We're going to be talking about what immunity even is, how does our immune system work, and we're just going to keep it concise. I'm going to try to have my live streams be a little bit shorter in the future, but try to jam pack it with some nuggets of knowledge there. And so, what systems does it consist of? And then we're going to be talking about what I call the different stages that your body goes through when it's fighting viruses. So I have identified 3 different stages. So we're going to work through them, and we're going to talk about different herbs, and I'm going to show you some of the herbs that I have here. And we're just going to talk about different things that you can do, or how you can take herbs every day to boost your immunity. All right. So first, what is immunity? So immunity refers to our resistance to diseases. That's just loosely how I would refer to it. Day to day, every day, we come in contact with germs and pathogens and bacteria and all of those things. And that's not necessarily the issue. When our body is strong, it's able to ward off illnesses. And bacteria is something that's normal. We have our own bacteria. And so it's not necessarily to neutralize all bacteria, but it's making sure that we have the balance of good so that the population of bad does not overextend. All right, so how does and I'm going to be looking down because I have notes just to keep me on track, and also to take timestamps for those who will come back. All right, so that's all I want to say about just what immunity is. Most people know about immunity and what the immune system is. So our immune system is just basically like the system. It's our body's defense mechanism. So let's see. Some of the points I want to talk about. Our immune system is the way our body fights pathological viruses. When the body senses that there's foreign substance, it's called antigens, then the immune system goes and fights to get rid of them. So it identifies the viruses, bacteria, whatever, and then neutralizes it. Sorry, I have a lot of background noises today. All right. And then what are the body systems that have to do with our immune system? So our bone marrow is really instrumental in creating different cells. We also have the thymus gland. We have the lymph nodes, the spleen, and the tonsils, which is where the fighting actually occurs. So if you notice, whenever you're fighting an infection, your lymph nodes get swollen. That's just because the lymphocytes are actually fighting the bacteria. I want to keep it really simple and succinct. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to mention. So the immune system is a large network of organs, blood cells, proteins, and chemicals. The B cells are what actually produces the antibodies, which attach into the viruses or whatever, and then actually signals for the body to destroy them. So that's all I want to talk about on that. So I'm just going to spend about maybe 10 minutes on each of the stages, and I'm going to show you the different herbs that I have while we do that. And let me stop to say hello. Thank you, Infinite Charms Beauty, for joining. Shalom. And thank you, Miss Linda. Thank you for joining. All right. So, and you just the time because we are very early into the chat. Okay. So some things to know. There's different stages. There's different stages of illness. I'm thinking I'm talking too fast. And so when we talk about boosting immunity and we talk about different herbs that we take for cold and flu, there's actually a certain point that the body needs to be at for the herb to actually be indicated or needed. And so you don't just always take garlic or ginger just because you have a cold. They're for specific purposes. And so that's what I want to explain a little bit more. you may not know that the average person will get 2 colds a year. And so whenever I'm thinking about what you need to stock in your apothecary or what you need to stock in your kitchen cabinet, it's going to be for things like colds and flus, and coughs, things that, the average person will have and experience at some point during the year. Also, we know about, the virus that's going on. And as things are really open now. And so the spreading, and people are forgetting, I think, as well. And so spreading illness is, a big thing. People, like, even though we stay at home usually, my husband goes out to work every day and talking to people and interacting with people. So there's different bacteria and stuff that he can bring home. Children, as they're going back to school, will experience this. And so that's why it's important now to already have different things made up so that you have it ready to use on the onset, or to build up what we say as the immunity. So the different stages, I am actually going to, because I didn't take too many notes, and I'm actually going to talk about some books that I think are really useful for what we're talking about today. So I'm going to my book, and it says from the beginning, but actually it's Herbal Holistic Healing, which will be out soon. So you can actually go and pre-order it. And I have all of the links for the books, herbs, and all of that down below. So if you're interested, do check it out. So I'm just going to, and of course, I'm not going to read everything or point out everything, but I'm just going to talk about maybe 2 herbs or so. So today, if questions are not on the subject, then I'll probably have to save it for another one. But because I am only going to spend a little bit of time today. So make sure once you have your questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. And just get in the habit when you see that I schedule a live, if you have questions, just write them down or whatever, so you're ready to go when you come. All right, so the stages. These are just the stages that I note when you're going through colds and flu. So I just broke them down into 3. One is actually building what's known as the core immunity. And so this is actually just keeping your body strengthened and make sure it's functioning properly so that it can identify when these pathogens come. And it basically can also help you not get sick in the first time and in the first case, because as I said, we already come into contact with all kinds of things every day. But if we have the core immunity, then it will help us to be able to ward off, so we won't get sick every single time we come into contact with something. I have a fan on, so let me hold this down. And can you guys hear me okay? Because I do have a fan and dryer going on. The second stage is when you need to stop the virus from replicating. So it's stopping the virus replication or synthesis. And then the third stage is when you actually want to kill off the virus and the pathogen. So that's, once you've gotten sick and you're trying to get yourself well again. So in stage 1, hey, Cece the stylist, thank you for joining. Oh, you can hear me fine. Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, so in stage 1, so the goal is to prevent it, like I said, to make sure you don't get sick in the first time. So we focus on what's known as the core immunity. So this is before you actually get sick. So this is just, every day. And we're going to talk a little bit about, I have 2 herbs that I want to talk about. And so, but yeah, this is just making sure that your body's functioning. Some people have a lessened immune system, like the people who are going through autoimmune diseases or, cancer once they're going through radiation. This helps them to be able to strengthen their immunity. Hey, Lydia, thank you for joining. All right, so the herbs I want to talk about are Astragalus, which I need to get more of. So this is the first one. And I always talk about Astragalus a lot because it's very safe. It's used actually for children that have gone through chemo. And I'm going to talk about the important thing about how these herbs work and what they do for the body so that you know why you use it and when you use it. So Astragalus is not necessarily something that you use when you're sick. You're using this before you're sick or for people who have a weakened immune system. So let me go ahead and show you. So Astragalus is one of the herbs that are used in Chinese medicine a lot. And so when you find the Chinese herbs, you'll find them sometimes in slices, which will be easier to show like this. This is some root slices. It is a root that's used. And here is what the slices look like when it's cut and sifted in smaller pieces. I actually prefer to get it in slices just because it's going to be fresher. The more you process herbs, the more the chemicals will leach out of it. So it is better if you can to get it in as whole a form as possible. Okay. So that's Astragalus. So I want to point out some of the points, and all of these herbs I'm referencing and the information I'm talking about can actually be in here. Will be in Herbal Holistic Healing. All right, so I have a quote here, and this is from Rosemary Gladstar, her book Herbs for Children's Health, which I should have brought down to you. She says, Astragalus strengthens the deep immune system by rebuilding the bone marrow reserve that regenerates the body's protective shield. Numerous studies have shown its effectiveness in helping young children in chemotherapy and radiation therapy. Some other things I want to talk about is that Astragalus actually increases the white blood cell counts, which is what helps us to fight off infection. And it also closes the pores as well. So it's really helping build up our defense. Because, you know, when your pores are open, that's when everything can get in. So, like, let's say you're washing your face, you do it with warm water to open the pores, and then you finish off with cold water to close the pores off. So you don't want to leave yourself open to diseases and viruses and everything. So anything that's going to, you know, keep you protected in that with the pores closed is going to be really important. All right. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to mention. Astragalus is used when a person has like a lack of vitality, it's called. This is when they really don't have any energy. They're really weak, like I said, weak in immune system, or just weak in the body, because it is really nutritive and has a lot of different vitamins. It has the root actually has selenium, which can help you utilize calcium and silicon. And it also is used for people who have prolapsed organs. So those are just some points about Astragalus. And the next one I want to talk about, and I was supposed to be taking timestamps. The next one I want to talk about is actually Reishi, which is a mushroom. Let's see. It's actually a really large mushroom. And the Latin name is, let me see. I want to make sure I pronounce it right. It's Ganoderma lucidum. And it actually just means shiny skin, because it has like a reddish brown skin and it's really shiny. And if you can see just how these are slices, and you can see just how big this mushroom actually is. These are just some pieces of Reishi. Reishi is actually used for those who are going through chemotherapy, like for the same purpose, to rebuild the immunity. And I really like medicinal mushrooms. Another thing to note about Astragalus is it has like a bland taste and a little bit of sweetness. So it is one, if you're a person who can't tolerate things that don't taste really well, this is really neutral. Reishi is a bit more bitter. And Astragalus is also pretty inexpensive as well. You can get, I was just looking, and I linked down below where you can find these herbs, but 4 ounces of Astragalus was like $10 or something. So it's really worth getting. Let's see, just so you can see what it looks like there. All right, so, and these two herbs are actually used in everyday herbs, which is this one. If you have everyday herbs, I have my actually most popular recipe. So my mom, she actually keeps my books on her coffee table. And so when people are there, they always just go looking through the book, and they always are really interested in it. My recipe is called immunostimulants syrup. So I have 3 different syrups in there, but that one's my most popular. That one's my favorite. And I actually have some of it made here. It's a very dark color, very, it looks black almost, but you can actually see some of the purplish in it. And that's from mostly the elderberries, but some of the other herbs. And I don't want to skip ahead. Thank you, TT. Yes, Astragalus. Yeah. Thank you, Shy Baby, for joining as well. I'm not sure. Did you have, I don't know if you were saying something about Astragalus. But those are actually, and we're going to talk about Echinacea and Elderberry too. later on. But those are actually in that recipe, and I just really love to use those. Those are really good to take, daily. It's really popular now to have like a blend of different medicinal mushrooms because they're just really nutrient rich. A lot of them do help to build up immunity. They're good for like brain or nervous system health. Use a lot of times for those, for aging. So like things with like memory and cognition. So medicinal mushrooms are definitely something that you should look into. And reishi, I think, is probably one of the top herbs or one of the top medicinal mushrooms that you should have. I say number one is reishi, and number two definitely chaga. So reishi is actually called the herb of spiritual potency and the mushroom of immortality. So as you can see, it's really highly revered, and it was actually ranked to be the most superior. And let's see, in the oldest Chinese Materia Medica. So it was actually listed higher than ginseng. And so ginseng is really popular now, but reishi was thought to be more beneficial. Let's see if there's anything we wanted to talk about. So reishi is used, like I said, for those going through chemotherapy, for those who are chronically fatigued. So it's just like, really sluggish, weak people. Like, let's say somebody, like if you went through chemo or you went through something really traumatic, or I like to use astragalus and reishi if a person's like always getting sick, like recurrent illnesses with the lungs. Let's see. So chronic fatigue, shortness of breath. Also used for, not really, it's not one of the top herbs, but used for blood sugar, blood pressure. So it's just overall good health. And these are both what's known as adaptogens. So they just really help you to cope with stress. And they just really kind of help intone the whole body. And so they're really good for people who have lung issues. I like to especially put astragalus, but things like reishi or things that are really building can really support somebody who has asthma or, pneumonia, things like that. You might want to use some of those in the formula to help for support. So I think that's all I want to say about reishi. All right, so let's go to the second stage now. I don't think I have any questions. Okay, so the second stage. I'm zooming today. Seems really bad. All right, so the second stage is, let me go back to it so I can say it exactly as I wrote it. Stopping viruses from replicating. So basically stopping a illness from happening. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I'm going to wait until my dryer stops ringing. All right. So this is when when you first start having symptoms. And let me read it as I wrote it from the book. Let's see. So this is what I said is the onset stage. So this is when your first symptoms appear, and they're usually mild. So things like if you notice your nose is getting stuffy, or you're having a scratchy throat, like when you first feel like, oh, I feel like a cold is coming on. That's when you want to take these, and you want to try to take these so that you don't actually get sick. And so the number one that I like to use for that is Echinacea, and I actually don't have it down here, but I have trying to see if I see it. That I don't. Oh, I do have it right here. So I have an extract of it. So it's actually just like a tincture. I just take fresh, and you know what? Let me get up and show you guys. This is gonna take 1 second. I want to show you guys my fresh tincture that I have because I'm making more of it. All right. So this is my tincture. If you could see the echinacea flower in there, and when I do it, I just I just put the whole flower in there. I don't worry about taking the petals off, and I have leaves in here. Now, actually, what's thought to be the most potent part of echinacea is actually the root, which I have here, and I'll show you guys that next. But so you know that it's really potent is because it's going to have like a little tingle. You'll be able to feel it in your mouth. It's like tingling. So even though I didn't use a root, my tinctures are already really strong. I use 100% alcohol, what's known as Everclear, 190 proof alcohol, which is basically like almost pure alcohol. It's 95%. And when I have my fresh plants, and this is only about 2 weeks old, I want to say, and just within a couple of hours, it was very dark. As you can see, it comes out to like a black tincture almost, but really good. All right, so I didn't actually link, or I didn't actually keep the page for Echinacea. What I want to say about Echinacea. So I like to use it at the onset of illnesses because it stimulates the immune system. So in the first stage, we were using herbs that are known as immunomodulators. So those just actually help to bring the body back into balance and strengthen the immune system. And then you have herbs that are stimulants that actually stimulate to get your immune system activated. And so that's the difference of Echinacea. Let's see. Let me see. I'm trying to remember. This is not the section I'm in. Same garden. So Echinacea is actually native to the U.S. and it would actually, would be found just like you go in the woods, you go hiking, and you would be able to actually find it. But nowadays, it's actually a at-risk plant. So you won't really, it's very unlikely that you would actually even find any. If you go out, like just foraging, it's very unlikely that you would even find any. But it is becoming more popular. Like I've seen that Home Depot and other home improvement stores actually have Echinacea plants. It's a really beautiful plant, perennial. It's also known as coneflower. So here are, this is on this side is me, and these are Echinacea here. So this is actually when I had, when it was just leaves before the flowers shot up. This is what the leaves look like. They're pretty like hairy all over. They don't feel really nice. And the flowers also are really like prickly. And that's actually how it got its name. Let's see what else I want to say. Oh, it's also known as snake root as well because it was used for snake bites. And so I actually take this if you go hiking or anything like that. If you get a snake bite, it would be good to put this on and then go seek help because it's antiseptic. And so it's really useful for any of those kind of things to really keep it clean and prevent infections. You're okay. Just sorry, I'm just keeping up with the comments. Let's see, anything else I want to talk about? Oh, okay. So I want to show the roots of it as well. And so Echinacea, actually, there's different varieties. The most popular is purple coneflower, which is known as Echinacea purpurea. And that's thought to be the most potent when you're talking about the root. There's also Echinacea angustifolia. That's actually what I have here. This is what it looks like. And I'll show you. Thank you, TT. And I'll show you what it looks like in here. And Echinacea, the flowers, it's another herb that doesn't have a bad taste at all. Actually, I have some of it in a leaf form. And I should have took that out. It's way back here. Oh, it's not there. Where are you at? I'm down here. I have too many jars that look the same. Okay, I'm going to scratch that. I'm not going to find it today because I'm not sure where it is with my purple top. Is it over here? Oh, it's probably over here. But anyway, I'm not going to find it. It's just a very dark green leaf. And here's what the root looks like. But it's not a bad tasting herb at all. And neither is the root. It just has a tingling feel in the mouth. So it is used for mouth conditions as well. So infections in the throat. Any of the herbs that kind of give you like a tingling sensation usually are really good. Echinacea is antibacterial. And so it's really good for any kind of inflammation as well in the mouth. Let's see. Anything else I want to talk about? So as I talked about, like gum infections, bacterial. Oh, it's used for bacterial and strep as well, staph. And we know it for colds, coughs, and flus. But really, it's used before you get sick, just to stimulate the immune system. And also, it helps to elevate the white blood cell count as well. So that's basically how it works to stimulate the immune system, because the white blood cells are the ones that actually are fighting the infection. All right, so that was the first one. The second one I want to talk about is elderberry. So the most popular of the elderberries is Sambucus nigra, which is just these black ones. These are also known as European elder, I want to say as well. So let's go ahead and put it in here. They're very dark colored. You don't want to eat any elderberries raw. You always cook them first. Here we go. Can you see how very dark colored they are? So they're very dark purple. There are some types of red elders, and you never want to eat those. Those would actually be toxic. And again, you never want to eat them raw. So the way elderberry actually works is that it basically stops viruses from being able to infect your cells. So it works like a wall of protection around your cells and protecting them from the viruses. And so elderberry and echinacea are often used together. Whenever I have a basic elderberry recipe in here. So the 3 recipes that I have for syrups is elderberry syrup, just a plain elderberry syrup, because I figured that's what people like to make. Then I also have an elderflower syrup, which is with the flowers of it and yarrow. Usually you don't use like the soft herbs for syrups, but I have a workaround where I just really keep it on the lowest setting and I just leave it for a very long time. And then I also have my immunation syrup that I talked about as well. Oops, can you see? My fan. Sorry. But yeah, so echinacea, I always say if you have echinacea, you should always put it in with the elderberry because they're thought to work together. They both help to help your body fight off illnesses, and echinacea is thought to make elderberry stronger or more potent. Elder is, I would say, definitely, it's like a bush. They can get very big. I have 4 of them actually in my backyard. They're really easy to root. And so I actually did that. So I basically cloned another one of my plants and I actually got some from a friend. So, but I feel like they are pretty easy. I don't really do anything to them. Whereas some of my grapes and stuff are not doing really well because it's really hot. Felt like 110 this week, but the elders still look pretty good. And so I definitely recommend growing elders. So if you do find a plant, they're usually very expensive, but they're worth the money. They're going to come back every year, give you tons of flowers. Now you can actually find some elders, usually in like upstate is where you would really find the elderberries, or elder is what it's called. And you can use the flowers as well, but if you cut off the flowers, then you just won't get the berries. So I always have to choose of how many I want to have. I'm trying to, and here's my elderberries. And ironically, they're right next to each other when it comes to, I have to write that down, excuse me. And I haven't been taking notes, sorry. Where am I at? Let's see, maybe. They're right next to each other, and that's just how it happens alphabetically. Okay. So I think that's all I want to say. And nobody has any questions because I'm about to be wrapping up soon. I'm going on to the 3rd one now. I'm doing good on time. Let's see. Anything else I want to talk about elderberry? I like to use the flowers. Let me see. I think what is that what I'm going to talk about? Let's see. So I wasn't going to talk about it later. So I'll talk about it now. I like to actually use the flowers because they're really good for fever. They can be used for children for fevers. And so when you actually, do have a cold or flu, they can be used, but only if the fever is very high. And the elderberries can be used. But I like elderflower more for that. Let's see. Anything else I want to talk about? I think that's all I want to talk about on that one. Yeah, that's all I want to talk about. But elderflowers and elderberries are safe for children as well. So those are remedies that I really like to have. And I think, everybody should have them because they're more safe. I did want to talk about who shouldn't use immune stimulants. So like echinacea doesn't really have too many contraindications, or basically I always say warnings that you shouldn't use them. But people that already have autoimmune conditions shouldn't use immune stimulants because their immune system is basically already attacking them and it's already at a heightened state. So you don't want to encourage that and make it worse. So those are so people that have like lupus or HIV or anything that has to do with, excuse me. Oh, thank you, TT. Anything that has to do with stimulating with any autoimmune condition, even rheumatoid arthritis is a condition as well. And I'm trying to think of some other ones like multiple sclerosis. Any of those you probably wouldn't want to, or you can consult maybe with the naturopath to see to make sure if you do use it that you would use it in small amounts. But I would just stay away from those. Let's see. I'm at, let's go, 29. And I also want to talk about some of the things that you can do every day to build immunity. So I talked about my syrup and I did show it. And we like to take this every day. So for myself, I would take a tablespoon, and you can take this morning and night. And my kids always actually, I should have brought it here. And I didn't take any today. So I'm actually going to I'm going to show you the method that I actually use for it, for me and my kids. So let me get it real quick. Oops, excuse me. Oh, sorry. So what I like to do is, and it's funny, it's for my kids. So the first time my husband saw it, he was like, what's going on here? But I take the little shot glasses like this, and so typically you want to use a teaspoon for children, maybe a tablespoon for adults. Now, if someone's feeling sick, then you would just take it, every hour or 30 minutes to an hour until you feel like the symptoms are gone. But usually I don't measure, and I just put some in here like this. That's probably more than a teaspoon, but that's what my kids want. And they always want more. The syrups are usually going to be a big hit with children because they do have honey in them, and you can make it with sugars, but I don't do that. So kids like it because it tastes good, and you can put different herbs in there that they probably would not like. So even though, like I said, reishi is more bitter, I don't worry about bitters too much when I know that it's going to have a good amount of honey in the formula. So that's what I usually do. I take it down like that. I mean, I would do that, you can do that morning. If you go out, go outside to work every day, you can do it when you come home. You can do it 3 times a day. But I just make sure whenever my kids want more, I just say, no more. So I wouldn't just drink it as a drink, but just a little bit isn't going to hurt. If you take it multiple times when you're sick, it's not going to hurt. Thank you. Yes, please hit the like button. Especially if you're watching the replay, please leave a comment as well. Let me know what you thought about the information. The other thing that I like to do, and usually I'll choose either or. I'd either take a syrup or I would take an oxymel. The only oxymel that I actually have made right now is this one, which is my nettle onion. Actually, it's not called nettle onion. That's what I called it when I first made it. It's called, is it nourishing nettle? No, is what I called it. So it has nettle and onions. It's really good. And I take it the same way. I would just put a little bit in a shot glass, or you can put a little bit. And also I use this to make salad dressing. So if you do have everyday herbs again, I have a salad dressing recipe, and you can use the oxymels as well in there. And then this one is just a vinegar. And this one is chickweed and nettle. And these bottles are actually recycled bottles from my mom. So I think they're so cute, but they were actually little wine. So if you get something like this, I always just get in the habit of saving your jars and your bottles. You never know when you could reuse it. So these are the perfect jars for my, I make a small, a half a pint jar of nettle mills. And that's actually how much you make if you have the recipes. And they fit perfect for this. So I really love them. And I wanted to talk about, and this is going to segue into me talking about these books that I brought here that are really good. Let's see. Vinegar. So vinegar is actually thought to boost digestion and boost immunity as well. So I wanted to mention it. I have this first book here, and I got it for $5.99. I bought it at a discount store called Ollie's, and it's called Doctor's Home Remedies: Simple Solutions for Getting Well and Staying Well. I haven't looked through it as much as I looked through other books, but it has just a bunch of information about different foods, and I think that is helpful, and it's really beginner friendly. So they have some here benefits of vinegar in your diet. So let's see. It helps to reduce blood cholesterol levels and heart disease risk. It treats diabetes, fights obesity, and aids in weight loss. So they have little things like that, and then they explain how it works. They say some marketers proclaim that apple cider vinegar is high in fiber and therefore aids in weight loss. A daily dose is said to control or minimize the appetite. Ironically, some folk traditions advise taking apple cider vinegar before a meal for the opposite effect, to stimulate the appetite in people who have lost interest in eating. So those are just some of the ways that having the vinegar in your food can be helpful. It says it prevents cancer and aging and prevents osteoporosis. So those are just claims. You have to read more to see what are the actions that they're talking about. But I think for me, it was really cheap, and I just looked through it and I thought, oh, it could be helpful. Just extra information. But it's really about just eating healthy, it seems. And then it also has different illnesses. So like muscle aches, and it'll tell you different remedies here. So it said you can use a cup of apple cider vinegar in a bathtub of warm water. Another one, apple cider vinegar, red pepper. So it's all different things that you can find in your kitchen, which is why I really love it. And for the person who doesn't have that many herbs, but still wants to have the quote unquote herbal remedies with the things in your kitchen. All right, so that's a good one. I have this other one here, and I got this one for $5, and I actually got this at Barnes and Noble. They were having like a clearance kind of sale. And the good thing about this book is I actually, when I was looking it up, it was only $8.99. Thank you, TT. So it definitely is something that you should, definitely a book that you should pick up. If any that you get out of the three that I'm going to talk about, I definitely would recommend this. This book is mainly, it has pages and pages and pages of turmeric. So there's many people who really love turmeric. And so if you want to know about turmeric, they have a page dedicated to essential oils. Let's see. There's so many different pictures here. They have some recipes included as well. Let's see. They talk about different, what's called constituents, or different chemicals that you can find in the plant. So turmeric is also known as curcumin, and that's the main constituent that is known to help with the anti-inflammatory actions and most of the actions that we know and love for turmeric. It also has that, black pepper helps with the turmeric's absorption. Actually, it says it helps the benefits of turmeric to be able to be absorbed better. It actually says that it helps to increase the absorption of the curcumin that's found in turmeric by 2,000%. So it has all little facts and interesting information as well. It has studies in here of turmeric as well, how it was found to be work better than some over-the-counter medications like ibuprofen. So it's a lot of different information, and it talks about different illnesses and how they can be benefited by turmeric. So it explains why, and that's the big thing. It's one thing to say something's, boost your immunity, but you want to know why. You want to know how it works, and so that's what I'm big on. And so it's always important to know how things work, so you can have that context, so that you can use it properly, so you can get the best results. So hay fever. And then they also, the other thing that I love is after they have recipes and all that, they actually talk about some of the other culinary herbs. Now, you guys, if you've watched me for an extended amount of time, you know that I'm always talking about kitchen herbs, because that's what most people have. And if anybody has an issue and I'm at their house, And they can't go out and buy herbs. That's the main thing. I know that everybody has, the 10 herbs or whatever that most people have in their kitchen cabinet, and I can advise them from that. I do want to talk about, I have a class that's actually coming up. It's a live class. It's on my website. It is a paid class, but you will get notes and recipes. It's called Becoming a Kitchen Herbalist. So we're going to talk about 12 beginner herbs to grow and use. So I'm going to talk about growing them, how to use them. Then I'm going to show also how I make one of the recipes from everyday herbs. So I have a link down below if you're interested. You want to make sure you sign up. It'll be August 6th. At 7, and that's so 8 is going to be for Eastern time, and 7 is going to be for Central Standard Time. And I have an early bird special, which is ending tomorrow for those who get tickets, and it'll be live, so you can actually join with me. I always like to have where people can come up, you can ask your question, you can show me and say, am I doing this right, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure you check that out. Let's see. What would you recommend for good digestion? So I did ironically talk about vinegar, which is used a lot of times for digestion. A lot of times our spicy herbs really help to speed up digestion. So I start by putting a little bit of pinch of cayenne in a lot of things. Even in things that are pretty sweet, you can put a little bit of cayenne in there and you won't really taste it. But a lot of our culinary herbs all work to help boost digestion. So just make sure you're having lots of herbs and spices in your cooking, which I know that you do. And those who haven't checked out TT's Urban Pantry, make sure that you do. You love turmeric tea. Oh, turmeric. I don't love the taste of it. I used to take it a lot years ago. I would take it in an extract. And actually, I'm going to be making some capsules of it because I want to start taking turmeric more. But make sure if you have your turmeric, make sure you take it with your black pepper or take it with cayenne, because cayenne is another herb that really helps to boost help your body to, it kind of just boosts the effects of different herbs. Let's see. Are those what you call tinctures? Yes. Where's my tincture? Okay. Yes, this is tincture. Tinctures are basically made with alcohol and it has some water in there, which is naturally in the alcohol, and then the herbs. So I usually like to do the folk method. Not going to go into that because I do actually have to go soon. But yeah, you just, there's different, what's called proofs of alcohol. So there's 80 proof, which is what you'll usually find if you go to a liquor store. And 100 proof you can also find in liquor stores. Some states it's actually illegal to have the what's called Everclear, or 190 proof, which is pretty much like a I can't think of the name. I don't know what's going on in my brain tonight. But it's like a full grain alcohol, which I don't think is I don't think that's the right term, but I can't think of it. But it's mostly alcohol. It's 95% alcohol and just a 5% of water. And yes, you let it sit for 6 to 8 weeks. You strain it, and that's your tincture. You take that in drops, or you can take it in like 4 teaspoons, half a teaspoon. Depends on what the herb is. And tinctures are really concentrated. You just put them in water, or you can take them by themselves. Sometimes people don't like the taste of it because it is, with alcohol. It tastes like herbs and alcohol a little bit. And everybody shouldn't take tincture. So like if you have, of course, liver problems, you don't want to take it. For children, you usually would use glycerites or extracts with glycerin. Yeah, so I hope that answered that question. The skin benefits of turmeric. So I like to use turmeric, and actually I have a recipe for it in Recipes from the Earth. I have a mask. It's a toning mask that you can use, but it's usually used for like inflammation. So people who have pimples or any kind of like inflammation on the skin, you can use it. It also has like antimicrobial properties, so it's thought to be good for acne as well. But a lot of times it's for toning the skin, and it is antioxidant, so it's thought to help with things like wrinkles and whatnot. So just overall skin health and brightening the skin. If you have dark spots, turmeric's usually used. Also, there's turmeric essential oil that can be used as well. I like to use that more for like pain, so people who have arthritis and things like that. But you can also use that essential oil on your face or in mask and toners or whatever as well. Okay, so I think that's everything. So are we on the third one? Let's see. We're on the third one. Where is my pen? And did I have any other questions? I hope I didn't miss anything. All right. So the third one, we're on the third one. Let me go back to my page. Oh, I didn't finish this last book. But yeah, if you do get a book, I definitely recommend this. This is going to help you to learn a lot about your kitchen herbs, and it has some recipes. To be honest, they're not recipes that I'd want to try, but I think the book looks really good. I really like the pages, how the design that they have. It's a really cute book, and it was really cheap, so I would definitely say it's a good beginner book. And also in Herbal Holistic Healing, my book that's on pre-order that I'm reading from now. Actually, I have a section dedicated to kitchen herbs because they're really important and they usually are not talked about, and they have so many different benefits. So anyway, let's go back to the third one now. The third step, and it's fighting off the infections, but let me find my page. All right. So yes, the third step is going to be killing viruses and pathogens. So this is when your body's actively fighting a disease. So this is when you actually have like a cold or a flu or something like that, and you're trying to help your body fight back. This is usually when you have, fevers. Some of the things that you can experience, I guess, during like colds or flus is, congestion, fevers, body aches, trying to think, chills. That's all I can think of. I don't think let's see. So the herbs that you want to use during this time is basically going to be to kill off bacteria, to help the body sweat. So to induce a fever or to bring down a fever, depending on what's going on with your body. So all of it is just basically to get yourself, get rid of the virus. So some of the herbs, garlic, of course, and I do have some garlic right here. Everybody knows what garlic looks like though. But yeah, garlic. So garlic is an herb that's used sometimes, it's a usual ingredient in things like fire cider, because I wouldn't there's garlic capsules and stuff, which one can use, but I wouldn't get into the habit of using it all the time because garlic, it kills a broad spectrum of viruses. And so you have beneficial bacteria. So it's not really necessarily good to take this stuff every day, but I guess I'm more conservative when it comes to how I use herbs, and I really just want to make sure I use it properly. But I know that it's a big thing to take garlic or to take golden seal and things like that. But it can be useful for congestion as well. Garlic or onion also is used for poultices if you really have a lot of congestion in your chest. So it could be really useful, and most people have it and can use it in a pinch. And we're, familiar with garlic. The other one I want to talk about is yarrow, which, let's see. Here's some yarrow flowers here. And I always keep 3 different types of yarrow. And I just gave my mom, yarrow dries so beautiful. Like it looks just like it does outside. It just really holds up really well. But I just gave my mom some, so I don't have it here. But this is what the flower looks like. And they're like a white and yellow kind of flower. It is in the same family with chamomile. It's in the daisy family. And I keep the powder. The powder I use as what's called a styptic. So to staunch like really bad bleeding. So like bruises or stuff. So it's good to have in the kitchen if you need to stop bleeding. I also use yarrow flower in an oil. And actually, I've used it on myself and actually on my son. If I have like a bruise and I'm trying to get Band-Aids open or whatever, I'm trying to get my bottles open and it's just bleeding too much, then I would put a few dots of the oil and stops bleeding. And it works really well. Even the oil, I wasn't sure if it would work. So I tested it out and it does work really well. And I've used that, like if it's a cut on the hand or so and you're still trying to use the hand, it can be useful. And then also I have, is this it? This is not it. Actually, this is my Echinacea leaf. Where is my yarrow leaf? I don't know why I would have moved it. It should have been right here. All right, but I'm over it. It must be up here. And I said I'm over it, so let me be over it. But yeah, so I also have the leaf and as well. Yarrow does have some bitterness. As I talked about, I use it in that elderflower syrup as well. Yarrow is used usually, it's another child-friendly herb as well, but it's used for fevers, and that's why I really like to use it. And also helps the body to sweat as well, which can be useful. What are other options that can be used besides alcohol and a tincture? So if you want to make an extract and you don't want to do it with alcohol, you can use glycerin, which I don't have it nearby, but glycerin gives, which is most of the extracts that you find on the market are with glycerin. Glycerin works and it will keep your extracts for about a year to two, which is really good. It has a sweetness that it gives to the medicine, I'll say, to the herbs. And so it's usually used for children as well. Children will like it because it will have a sweet taste, even though it doesn't have like sugar added or anything like that. And then you can also use vinegar as well. So like my chickweed nettle vinegar, that's also an extract too, and you can take it like you would a tincture. And then if you can just do something else like water, or so just water as a tea or a decoction, or try capsules instead if you don't like those options. So yeah, those are the two that I wanted to talk about. Let me talk about the third book that I want to talk about, and then I'll let you guys go. Really need to know where that yarrow is. Okay, so the last book I want to talk about is another way that you can just, introduce these herbs every day to help to either stimulate your immune system or just keep it nice and healthy. And this last book is actually a book, and look at the price. Can you guys see? I always keep my prices on my books because I always want to see how much did I pay for that. So I only paid $1.99 for this. And I got it at one of those, it's called Odd Lot. It's in Pennsylvania. So it's like one of those discount bookstores. But this is a really good book for juicing. So it has, general information about juicing, juice ingredients, and it tells you a little bit about some of the benefits of them, the fruits and vegetables. And then it tells you, which is really helpful, what things you should get organic and what things that you can get conventional or just, grown the regular produce that we have that's non-organic, that has pesticides and all that. So at the time of writing this book, like the dirty list are things like apple, celery, cucumber, spinach, strawberry, and kale. Those are the ones you usually want to get organic. Prepping and cleaning, but then it has pretty good recipes. These are recipes that I would say that I would actually want to try. Here's one with spinach. And I have a juicer. I just don't like taking it out and then cleaning it. It's just a bit of a headache. But I really liked this pineapple, and I do have a video, so I should come back and link it, my juicing video. And I did it with pineapple and celery, and it was really good. I also tried making one with watermelon and ginger. Just for ginger, it's just so hot, you really have to get the ratio right. But these are pretty simple, like this one. Cilantro, apples, celery, ginger, lemon. Really simple. This one's called Green Powerhouse. So yeah, again, I do have these books linked down below and different herbs. And actually, some herbs like the yarrow, I actually am selling in bulk. So I have a link down below for all of that as well. So if I don't have any questions, I'm going to let you guys go. Next week, I'm going to be talking about building apothecary. So if you just stay in the chat, it's actually going to bring you to that video. So I'll wait like 2 seconds while I put these herbs away. See if anybody has anything else to say. Any questions? I don't have any questions, so I'm going to let you guys go. And I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, TT. I'll see you guys next time.